Yeah, I mean, open relationships are getting normalized in a way, but it's just the conversation about them is what I think the value of open relationships is a lot of times just the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's also people just love to talk about relationships. Why? Because you're either in one or you want to be in one.
Exactly.
So what are we going to talk about? Relationships. And if we're going to talk about an open relationship, because most of the time you're either thinking about cheating or you're cheating or you're thinking about somebody else or fantasizing or whatever it is. So then wait a minute. If you're in an open relationship, you get to be with somebody and have sex with somebody else. Get out.
It sounds like it's too good to be true. But it does open up like the spectrum of conversation. And that's one of my biggest arguments for even leveling up your communication into a way where you can even talk about being attracted to other people and embracing the fact that that's going to trigger your partner in some way.
Yeah.
And holding space for your partner when that happens.
Right, because you have to expect that there's going to be a blowout at any corner.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. And you have to be willing to embrace that and support that and know that on the other side of that there's growth.
Yeah. There is always growth on the other side of struggles. And also knowing that it's worth it too. Like it really does have to be worth it for you to go into an endeavor like that. And you have to process that, which is, again, a super powerful practice in a relationship, regardless of whether you're fucking other people or not.
Well, you might not even know that it's worth it when you begin it. That's how I started. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this or if I want to do it. Like I grew up my entire life thinking that I would find the man and I would never really be attracted to anybody else. He wouldn't be attracted to anybody else. I was also very, very alpha to where it was, you're not going to look at another person because I'm super hot and that's just how it's going to be for the rest of your life. Welcome to your life.
This is the end.
And so I remember like getting into it and not really knowing if I wanted to do it or not really knowing if it was worth the pain at all. And even through the first year or so, I still didn't know if it was worth the pain, but I wanted to find out. And so that was where I started. It was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I can't give somebody an answer saying if I wanted to be in an open relationship or I didn't want to be in an open relationship, if monogamy was for me or non-monogamy was for me. Why? Because I didn't try it. I didn't know. Yeah. So let me try.
Yeah, that's huge too. I mean, the biggest shift came for me in this whole conversation, and I was in a relationship at the time, which if you come to this while you're in a relationship, it's extremely challenging in that on its own. And I had been reading, I think I read Sex at Dawn, and that all kind of came to me because I had realized there was patterns in my relationships that were independent of my partner, right? I had dated amazing girls and they were so fun and so awesome. And for whatever reason, the patterns that remained were me getting disinterested about a year in and wanting to go outside of that. And of course, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm a guy, so that's, reasonably expectable. But it's also, there's a lot of shame around that. Well, then what the fuck is wrong with them? What's wrong with me? Like something has to be wrong with somebody for that to be the case, which is, I would look at it now as an unhealthy way of looking at it. So you jump into Sex at Dawn, Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel, like these really powerful books, and start to maybe think like, okay, I'm not broken. So maybe there's another way. Well, let me go explore that. But what is really powerful about that is whenever you go look outside the norm and you kind of wander off the beaten path, you gotta kind of figure shit out for your own now, because now you're in the wild. Like you have some kind of maybe some guides and some kind of some things to check in on, but you're basically surrendering comfortability and the facade of security to go just into the forest with no trail. And you're like, well, let me figure this shit out, and hopefully I find somebody else that wants to hack through this thing with me.
Yeah, totally. It's like you're stepping off of a cliff and you have no idea what's at the bottom.
Yeah.
But it might be one hell of a badass waterfall. You don't know.
It might be.
You got to find out. Or maybe that's just me. Like I like to find things out. Like my entire life, my parents even growing up were always said, Whitney, you just do what you want to do, don't you? Like regardless of what they said. Yes. Why? Because I need to figure it out. Yeah. I don't want to take your word for it. You can't tell me that being in a monogamous relationship for the rest of my life is the only way to have a happy, successful relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Well, and you and I both have moms that have been married several times.
Oh, yeah.
How many times has your mom been married?
Number 5.
My mom's on number 4. I think this is the one that's going to stick, but they don't really seem like really that stoked on each other. They don't listen to this, so it's fine. They don't seem that stoked on each other most of the
time. Watch, she's going to listen to this one now just because you said that.
She'll be okay.
Connor! The fuck?
But I look at that and I'm like, she was talking about something and I was like, why don't you let Kurt go fuck some other chick? It'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. I know. I think what comes up, because I've had conversations with my parents about it because we're very open with the fact that we have an open relationship.
Yeah. And you have to accept, I'm the same way. Like people ask me a million questions all the time. My parents have to, and then you're like fucking girlfriend's parents know like a lot of this stuff too. Yep. It's just out there,
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting to have like a conversation with my dad about being in an open relationship because to him, who has also been married multiple times, to him being in an open relationship, there is no commitment.
Yeah.
And that's something that you hear a lot when people talk about open relationships is where is the commitment? You're not committing yourself to somebody. Or are you? Or are you almost committing yourself more to that person?
Yeah.
Because you're going through the fucking fire together.
Yeah.
And you constantly think about being 100% honest with your significant other. People don't do that.
No.
They just don't. They have girls' nights and they have guys' nights so they can go out and they can talk about their other partner because they don't feel comfortable enough bringing up the things that bother them and the things that turn them on even. It doesn't have to be negative or anything. Like being 100% honest with your partner is the number one key to having an open relationship and sitting down with your partner and having the most uncomfortable conversations you can and having trust that they can handle that and respect that they can handle it.
Yeah, 100%. And that's respect is a strong word in this too, because in my misadventures exploring this type of lifestyle, it's the most painful thing in the whole experience from my end is not feeling respected. And then that takes, again, that's another layer of communication. It's that assurance that that other person is committed to you and actually does give a fuck what you have to say and what you feel. That's a challenging piece for either side of the coin, right? If you're the receiver or the giver in that case, it's like, well, how? Looking back and reflecting and being able to communicate on experiences and knowing that you're going to wander into some clusterfucks for sure. Can you unpack that without getting overly emotional? Which you're going to get emotional. Like we're not, and understand where you could have improved your communication, what there is to say and do differently next time. Yeah.
Communication is huge. And it's also a lot of the things that people get upset about and feel if they feel disrespected or taken advantage of or whatever it is, there is a possibility 100% that your partner is doing something that's just malicious.
Yeah.
But there's also the coin that's your shit. Like, why do you think you feel jealous? Why do you think you feel disrespected? Or do you really feel disrespected? Or is there something underneath that?
Yeah.
Because I can say from, personal experience that there's come shit our way where I've felt disrespected and I've felt manipulated and we've manipulated, we've lied, we've done the entire thing to each other 100%. But I think there's been moments where I felt like he was doing that and he wasn't actually doing it maliciously. It was me coming out. It was my insecurities coming out and saying, oh, well, you did this to me, so I'm going to feel like this. When really, it might not be that.
Yeah, you're looking behind the curtain. And I think, have you done things where it was when you're expressing yourself or you're the one that's acting? Do you act out of your insecurity, do you think, sometimes too?
Fuck yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
It's hard not to, especially when you're in this type of relationship because it brings up your insecurities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your insecurities are the first thing that you're going to feel. So it's you either act on that and it kind of turns into a shit show, or you have to be like, okay, I understand that's one of my insecurities. Let me think about this because I don't want to react out of my insecurity. I want to act with my truth, not with this type of like lens that I'm looking through.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's really important to note there is looking at what's an insecurity and what's a value. Like, are you being triggered by insecurities or is somebody infringing upon the values that you've established in your relationship? That's super key. And then understanding those. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about, if you're going to get into these kind of conversations and a lot of people that are already in relationships or pursuing relationships, like what's a great way to just start this conversation from the jump?
Yeah, I think books.
Books?
I think books.
Let somebody else start the conversation for you.
Yeah, let somebody else start the conversation. have, maybe you guys read a book together, or somebody gives you a book and y'all read it together, and then you have a conversation about the book and about the principles in the books and the teachings in the books, and hypothetically how you would feel about this and how you would feel about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the great way to just kind of open the door. Or send him to, maybe you guys listen to a podcast together. Ab and I have done open relationship podcasts together, and we get tons of messages from people saying, thank you so much for doing that, because it opens the door for them. But I would say, like, maybe just don't be like, hey, boo, listen to this podcast about open relationships.
Yeah.
Like, maybe don't do that.
In the meantime, I'm going to go fuck somebody.
Right, exactly.
I'm going to go lay the D.
Let's take baby steps here. Yeah. Baby steps.
Well, that's the thing, too. I love what you said about laying out hypothetical situations, right? Because it's the same thing as just like any other part of your life, like envisioning what that would be. If you really want something, like, what does it feel like? What does it look like? And you can have a conversation about that. And then there's really very little risk in that too. Then you're kind of playing, like almost like role playing a situation, and that'll allow you to see some of those base level insecurities as well. And also, by addressing those in a healthy way, help you establish your values. Because a lot of times going into relationships, we don't even know what we value in the first place. So you don't even know what you value about yourself. So then you don't really know what reflections you're looking for in other people, which we're all just reflections of each other. And the things that we notice in other people are things we notice about ourselves, and their like or dislike. So when you become challenged by that, these conversations are a really great pathway to just understanding yourself more, even if nobody fucks anybody else ever.
Right.
It's just, that's the power of it.
And it's honestly fun. Like, it's fun to sit down and have a conversation, like a deep conversation, and get to learn what your partner's likes and dislikes are. Like, I remember when Ab and I first started it was enjoyable for us to read the books and be like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that. Like, I'm not sure. Maybe you would have to be okay with me doing this. Like, and he's like, oh no, I don't think I could do that. And it's just like, it's just kind of funny and playful.
Yeah.
And keep it playful. It doesn't have to be so serious. Like, don't go into these conversations, don't go into these conversations with a time frame either.
Oh, huge.
Go into this and realize that it's going to take a while, and support the process. If you really are, if you really do want to do this, support the process and just keep it playful, keep it light, and don't say, okay, we're going to have this conversation, and then in 6 months from now, I'm going to go see someone and you're going to go see someone. No. It's not going to work that way. It's going to fall apart, I promise. Let me save you a whole lot of shit.
Or you in a situation where you talk about open relationships a couple of times, and then somebody gets fucked up, and it's like, I thought we talked about it.
Yeah.
I was just making you. I was like, what? No, that's not
how it works either.
That's not ideal either. So yeah, it's a lot of it is, and we all keep coming back to communication, and keeping it playful is a great example of that. So, I mean, something like that would be, again, talking about it, maybe watching, we were talking about porn earlier, like something like that together and exploring that together. Flirting out would be a great first step, like being able to be around or know that someone, like your significant other, is flirting with someone else.
Or just seeing like your partner from somebody else's eyes. Like, you've been with them for however long, maybe it's been a while, maybe it's new, whatever it is, but you start to know your partner, and you start to kind of just, they're there, and you don't get the butterflies as often, and you don't flirt as often. So yeah, maybe that is a good point. First step, go out and flirt and see your partner from someone else's eyes. Watch them flirt with somebody and just enjoy it and be like, yeah, dude, God, he is hot, right? Yeah.
Because you're going to see your partner light up too with that flirtatious thing. And it doesn't have to be anything serious. Like, it's just.
And no, that doesn't take anything from you.
No, it doesn't. That's a huge point.
Yeah. If anything, he and or she is going to come back from that little flirtatious engagement, and y'all are going to laugh, and y'all are going to dance, and y'all are going to play, and it's going to be playful. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
That's so challenging for some people, because everybody wants to take relationships so seriously. Yeah. And there's just no longevity in that. Like, you just end up getting worn the fuck down. And if you can take something like that less seriously, but the barrier to entry to that is having a lot of trust, right? Like, a lot of trust that it is playful. When your partner is taking themselves too seriously, you're taking yourself too seriously. There's this weird kind of need to hide things about yourself, or kind of hide away and shy from those experiences. And that's not something really anybody wants. And you're doing it for the false belief that this is the right way, quote unquote.
Yeah, everyone wants to give you the right way.
The right way. Everybody has their answers as to what the right way is. Mm-hmm. So you go out, you're flirting, you're doing a little bit of something like that. what do you feel like is the biggest like key aspect in communicating once you start taking action on, even if it's something little like that? Like, what are the big methods of communication, and how would you set that up?
I guess it depends on the situation, but I would say first and foremost, sit down. You have 100% honesty talk. This is what me and Ob have, our 100% honesty talk. And when we have that on our 100% honesty talk, we're laying it all out on the line. And it doesn't have to be something super serious. It could just be, I'm interested in this, or I'm interested in this. And I think you want to kind of lay your boundaries out, but you don't want to be too staunch. You don't want to say, that's also what we found is when we first started doing the open relationship, we had, you can't do this, or you can't see somebody on this day, or you can't, text them at night, or you can't do this, whatever it is, and to kind of relax the boundaries and let it be more fluid, because then it also keeps it more playful, because you're not taking it as seriously, even though it's serious because your emotions are involved. But I would sit down and talk about what is right for both of you guys. Like if we were having a conversation, what type of open relationship would you like to be in? And you would ask me the same, like, how do we do that? And how do we mesh those two?
And what's a good meeting place and a compromising spot too? Because I know for me personally, and I don't want to get too much about my personal life, but it's like, I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from exploring this is just knowing that I just want, whether we're together or apart, like I want to feel like we're in it together always. Right. And I think that's where you come down to boundaries, where it's everything's fun and playful, but what makes it less fun and playful if somebody actually tries to get in between you two. Have you guys experienced that at all? Like somebody trying to weasel their way in?
We've literally experienced everything, I feel like. For sure.
So how do you deal with that? So say you're in this place and then somebody gets the wrong idea. Is like, you know what? I'm gonna swoop in here, and it's like the people, guys especially, will get, well, fuck, girls do it too. Like get the wrong idea about a situation and try and like work their way in the middle. Like, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for sure, because that's where my, alpha female thing comes out, and it makes me want to be like, oh, hell no, bitch, but I realize that I have to work on my own shit because of that. But if somebody's trying to come in the middle, I really think it's a conversation between you and your partner, and trusting each other enough to know that I'm not saying I'm not jealous. It's the fact that this person's actually trying to be detrimental to our relationship. And the moment that an external friend or partner or relationship or lover is trying to cause, detriment or harm to your primary partnership, then that's where you need to have a very serious sit down talk and probably remove that person from whatever's going on.
Which is going to be super challenging.
Which is going to be super challenging.
Feelings there if that person is
depending on how, depending on the ins and outs of the relationship. Obviously, this changes from relationship to relationship, how long they've been seeing each other, what that person's like, the relationship with either or primary partner with that other lover. It really just depends on how it is. But I honestly feel like if you're in a solid primary partnership and somebody's trying to come in and harm your relationship and manipulate and be disrespectful, and then it's not worth it. Then they're out.
Yeah, and I think one thing to address there is if something like that, if somebody feels extremely disrespected early, if that's how it kicks off, it's really hard to recover from that shit. I think that's one of the things that we talk about when we were talking about earlier is like baby steps or finding your pace in it. It's like because it's one of those things where if you really fucking scar somebody early in that situation, it's gonna take time. You have to like wind that whole thing back, and unpack all of that shit, which is heavy, but it is what it is, and then try and move forward again, which is a cautionary tale as to jumping in the deep end.
Yeah, it's hard. But I mean, it's possible.
It definitely is
but
possible.
It's hard.
And you may come out of that whole process. I mean, you'll definitely come out of that having a better understanding of yourself and your situation. But it's definitely it's work. It comes down to really saying like, okay, well, fuck, we fucked that up. Yeah,
it's work, and it's work on. It's a lot of work on you personally, like your internal work, and seeing that person as a mirror. And seeing that person as, why is this person bothering me so much? Why are they bringing out all of my insecurities? What is it? Let's find out, throughout all of this shit that's going on. I mean, that's what I found. It was there was this person that came into our relationship that I was okay with, and then I wasn't. I felt like she was manipulative. I felt she was very disrespectful. And I did my best to sit down and have a conversation with her multiple times and try to sweep, clean the slate. Okay, we can try this over again. Clean the slate. Okay, we can try this over again. But I can say it was my biggest teacher, because I took all of the reasons why I felt like she was, lying or manipulating or being rude or whatever it was. And I wanted to find out why it was bothering me so much. And so she, even though it was the most difficult time in our relationship, I learned so much from that. So I have to be grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot to say there. And
am I calling that in? Fuck no. I'm like, I've been there and done that. I need to go back down that road. Bye.
Yeah. Well, then you know what it feels like when it's coming on. You're like, hey, I remember this shit. I mean, I have a similar experience in the way, not to that level, but I think sometimes it was something that was really important for me to understand, is that when I decide that I want to talk about these kind of things and put myself out there, like, the universe is going to conspire to make sure that I fucking get it, and
so
going through it, I created a situation for myself where I was felt completely disrespected and completely emasculated. And it's something I've processed for the last year or so, which was so, I was so fucking ashamed of myself and the whole situation for allowing that to happen. And then as of late, I was just kind of reflecting on some stuff and was trying to realize how difficult it is to feel emasculated as me, and how much I got out of that, and how much fucking content I've got out of that as far as writing and
right.
podcast goes. But there was no other path that I could take into that level of emasculation. And I learned it was perfect. It was perfect. And I had to be that vulnerable in that place, in that mindset, for that to happen. Do I want it to happen again? Fuck no. Next time that shit happens, somebody's getting punched in the goddamn mouth, for real. But at the same time,
I'll be in the background woo woo.
Whitney's gonna be in the background being like, I hope no one fucks with Connor, because we talked about this shit and it's gonna import
I
for
know
someone.
what's up.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, cool. I get it. All right. Do I need to fucking bring that into my life again? No, I got that. I passed history. I'm ready to go. But at the same time,
it'll show up again.
It'll show up again, and I've all right. Well, I've got a tool for that now. That was great, because it wasn't going to happen any other way. Because I don't take shit serious enough. Generally speaking, I don't take shit serious enough to get to that level of self-reflection and just complete exposure, to the point where the quote from myself was, you know what? I'm kind of tired of apologizing about shit. I don't really feel like I'm wrong. And that saying that, I was like, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That was good to hear myself say.
Yeah.
My feelings aren't fucking stupid.
Right.
Weird. But again, as we keep going back to it, it's there's so much learning in that. Mm-hmm. And Brene Brown says, that shit happened once. I think she probably doesn't say it like that, but that's how I say it. It happened once.
Better that way.
How many times are you going to replay it in your head? You need to replay it in your head just enough times to get the fucking message, take the lessons, and leave that shit behind.
And we do it for other people, though, too. That's a thing. We will punish ourselves for one thing over and over and over and over again, and we will punish everybody else for something they did 10 years ago over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's punish yourself once if you so choose. Punish somebody once if you so choose. We don't need to be on this constant cycle of being oh, you remember that last time you did so-and-so on that Wednesday on the 12th 10 years ago? And they're like, what? No, I don't remember that. But you've punished that person over and again. How are they supposed to change?
Yeah.
How are they supposed to grow? And I had something similar happen with a girlfriend of mine this past weekend where, people around her are treating her like she's the same person that she was 2 years ago.
That's huge.
And she's put in so much work and so much self-work and has been transformed, I think, into another person. Yeah, of course, shit still comes up that she needs to work through, but the people around her are treating her like she's the other person. And she's constantly having to defend herself, saying that, no, that's not who I am anymore. Treat me like you want me to be. because they're so many times saying like, we want you to be this person, and she says, I am this person, but you're not even allowing me to show you that I am, because you're so stuck on the fact that I did something to you 2 years ago.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, if you could operate from a place of, she's doing the best she can with the tools she has, and if you were her, DNA for her, or cell for cell, switch spots with her, you would be her. If you had her life experience, you would be her. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it is. So it's, if you can see them in the way that they really, in the way that they value themselves, even if they don't, if you can look at someone else that way, then you can bring that out of them. And that's not changing them. I think that's the big line to be drawn as well. It's like there's a difference in seeing someone and seeing their internal value and wanting to bring that out of them versus trying to get them to fit in the mold that you want to create for them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you come into the idea that everyone's kind of playing a sitcom that you're a character in whenever they look outside of themselves, it also doesn't really serve people for you to go off script. Like, they have an expectation in their mind as to how you're supposed to act and what you're supposed to be. And if you're a fucking party girl, then you need to be party girl, because that's what they expect from you. Right. Whenever they bring you around, that's what they expect. And if you're the funny guy, you better come up with fucking jokes, son, or else you're fucking useless because you're going off script.
Oh, yeah, or there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Oh, what's wrong, dude? If you're being quiet, you talk a lot. It's like, I don't know, dude.
I'm just chilling.
Just let me be. Get out of here. But it's a funny thing to think about when we do that, and even with our partners. It's like, I think that's a critical thing where it's like, oh, this is your insecurity. This is your insecurity. This is your insecurity. It's like, is it or is it mine? Because you fucking seem to be projecting it on me a ton. I don't really feel like that's mine, you know? And I think that's one thing when it comes to self-reflection, it comes to these difficult situations, is taking the time to reflect on yourself and be like, okay, well, I see what's mine in this. And don't let anybody else push theirs on you, you know, because if you can hold space for yourself and be like, hey man, I'm pretty anchored in my values, and I understand myself because I earned that vision of myself, then you can really bring that version of yourself to your partner.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you put in the work and you know exactly what values you want, you know what type of relationship you want, you're always going to have work that's going to be there. That's just how it is. You're going to have to work every single day to constantly uncover layers.
Yeah.
But, that's the number one goal that you want to get to. If you're there, then you know what type of relationship that you want to have. And if your partner, and that's where you decide if your partner is, you know, on the same level as you or they're not.
Yeah. And it's really taking that time to express that with them and be able to hear what they have to say and know that your way isn't the best way.
Right.
It's just your way. And there's always something to learn.
And you could always try it their way if you want.
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
But then you can hold it over their head for 10 years whenever it doesn't work out.
Ooh, that's fun. Resentment. That'll really kill the relationship there.
Resentment's great because it doesn't kill the relationship immediately. It slowly poisons it over years.
It's like trying to kill somebody with little baby needles. Every day you put one needle in until they're just completely full with needles, and then it's done.
It's like they used to do this like Chinese torture where they would hang people over bamboo stalks because the bamboo grows like an inch a day.
Oh my God.
Sharpen them. So it just like slowly start to impale people.
Yep. That's resentment. That's what resentment does to your relationship.
When you're thinking about that, you're like, oh, I resent somebody for some reason. Or if you resent yourself for some reason, you're like, I'm basically just letting bamboo grow through my body. This is awful.
I mean, I think that's like super important though. Like if there's resentment in the relationship, you want to do, it is fucking critical 911 emergency time to figure out why it's there and how you get rid of it, because that is the number one killer of relationships. If you have resentment, you are going to be unhappy. Period.
Well said. 100% agree. So let's talk about this. And this is something I think that is inevitably shit's going to happen. That is messy or painful. Mm-hmm. In my view, the best way to resolve that, and once we accept that we're not perfect and that's going to be the case, like very rarely is this going to be a color by numbers relationship into full openness and transparency.
Right.
What do you think the best strategies are for kind of healing the wounds? So say something happens like you were talking about where somebody tries to get in the middle, then you're like, fuck, I don't want that to happen again. That was super painful. Like what needs to be done or seen or said or expressed, or what kind of action needs to be taken to start to bring some balance back?
Well, we broke up, so.
Well, that happens, so that's part of it sometimes, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, that is true. Like, sometimes you do need a break. Sometimes you need to break up and reevaluate the relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say 100% if we didn't break up after that entire situation, this was, I don't know, 2 years ago, I guess, 2.5 years ago now. something. I don't know. And we would not be engaged. We would not be happy. We would not be where we're at today because we took that time apart and both of us completely reevaluated our relationships, ourselves, what we were going to do with our lives, the entire thing. That was the only way that we could come back together and say, okay, here I am, basically a new person, because I'm coming to you as a different person. I went through all of the shit. I know exactly what I want and exactly what I don't want. And if you're okay with that, then we can work together and rebuild our relationship. And I think I don't think you have to break up by any means. I think it's possible to get through it easily, but I do think it's about figuring out, once again, your own internal environment.
Yeah.
You really do need to dive deep into yourself and find out what makes you tick. What makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you angry, what makes you jealous, what type of relationship you want with yourself, and find things that bring that out. So for me, a big thing was traveling by myself. So I needed to go travel by myself and be in uncomfortable situations where I didn't know anybody. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So really just doing things like that. Ecstatic dance for me, I think it's really just bringing out anything that can bring you inspiration and clarity. And it doesn't really have to even be sitting down and talking to your partner, which is also, a great way of doing it. Hey, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing. Like, don't think that you have to go through this alone. We have Dr. Dan Engel, who I don't know if you've had him on your podcast yet or not. I mean, yes, you have to.
He's fantastic.
He's literally my most favorite person on the planet. But he is the one that we call when shit is about to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And he can sit there and kind of bring us together. And it's really helpful to have a third party, just a mediator there who's not as deep into the relationship or as deep into the shit as you guys, for a different perspective. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Do things that are going to inspire you and kind of cleanse your soul and your mental state. And obviously, chat with your partner. But
yeah. Well, and your partner's going to want you to do things that really, if you can articulate why and where you're at and what's going to fuel your soul, like if your partner doesn't want that for you.
If your partner doesn't want that for you, they should not be your partner. 100%. It's not a partner. That's not a partnership.
100%. I mean, and even talking about the breakup thing, like coming out of my last relationship, I was like, I got some space, did my thing, and I actually wrote down. I do morning pages, so I write 2 pages at least every morning with my coffee, and that's like my journaling practice. And in that, for whatever reason, that morning I ended up writing down like what I wanted in a partner. And it was 2 pages, and I was like, cool. I actually gave that to my ex-girlfriend. I was like, hey, listen, like if this is you, that's cool. If this isn't, that's cool. But I would like for you to see what this looks like for me. And it wasn't in an aggressive way at all. It was very like, just hold on to that.
Kind of just laying it out there.
Yeah, it's like, this is like for me in a really clear heart space where I'd had my time and reflected. And it felt really good just to let that go. Like now because of this whole scenario and all this whatever, oh cool, now I've come to this, like this is where I'm at and I feel really fucking good about it, and that's a great place to move from and go forward in any situation.
You're going to be you're going to feel better, but you're also going to be a better partner in any relationship, regardless if it's that relationship that you're continuing to work on and flourish from there, or if you're in a new relationship, you're going to be a better partner and lover and friend.
Seems like a win-win to me.
It is.
And that's the thing too, to come back around to is when you do get a chance to take action, if you were off base or something was fucking messy, take the other action, or make sure that you implement the learnings that you got. I think a lot of times it's like, no, fuck them, they were an asshole, like and then just put it away, where it's like, well, what can I learn about myself there? What kind of action can I take next time that's a little bit different? Yeah,
I was talking with somebody a while ago about just when you and your partner find that y'all are in some sort of tiff, or if you guys are kind of in a lull or whatever it is, something's just off. There's like a little bit of a disconnect there. Whoever has the more conscious state at that point, whoever's the more clear at that point, act that way. be more conscious. Like let's say if we're in a relationship and I'm flipping out, I'm super stressed, like, I'm just spouting off at you for no reason, when really it's because, I'm really stressed at work, or I whatever, I'm on my period and my hormones are kind of crazy, and it's just like multiple things are piling on and I'm just mad at you. You could easily come to me and be like, oh, well, fuck you. Like, look at you. Like, you're fine. Your problems aren't as big as mine. What about this, this, and this? Whatever it is. You get into this tiff where you could just be like, okay, Whitney right now is flying off the handle, and she doesn't really have like the ability to like bring herself out of it. And not that you need to bring me out, but you have the ability to hold down the more conscious side of thought and the more conscious side of love. And so doing something that would help me a little bit get out of that and just be that like steady, conscious, loving partner instead of reacting to how I'm, flying off the handle.
Yeah. Or even trying to fix it is like not necessarily, it's like just reacting in that way versus.
Yeah. Not even like trying to fix it. Nothing. Just maybe maybe it's just you walk up to me and you give me a hug.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, ugh, I can't do this, I'm leaving.
Just acknowledging your feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think, is it harder to do that from a female to a male perspective? Like if the dude's losing his shit? Like it's not necessarily attractive.
It's not attractive, but I mean, if you're in love with that person, you should want to be able to give love to him.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult for me to even imagine not wanting to give love to Aubrey in that. But I know there's been times where I'm just like, God damn. You're really just losing it right now. But I think like it kind of just comes with the territory. You want to be there to help your mate, or you should be.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I know, and I asked that. That's a very pointed question. It's really easy to ask you questions because I know you so well.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. Go ahead. I'm an open book.
No, but I think about that. It's like there's things that your partner is going to do that are unattractive to you.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like in that situation, especially when they're losing their shit, which is never really super attractive. But it's like, okay, like the bigger picture is, I love this person more than the freak out that's happening right now.
You know? This is a blink.
And
in the relationship.
It's so small. It's so impermanent.
Hopefully, there could be, now that being said, if I'm with somebody who is just going bonkers all the time and it's basically sucking the energy out of me, that's where the compromise comes in. And then that's where you really have to reevaluate the relationship. If you're compromising yourself because of the actions of somebody else, I think that's when you reevaluate things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then guess what's going to be there? Resentment. And we all know resentment kills relationships. Just saying.
Yeah, because you get to the point, we actually talked about this the other day. It was like, getting to the point where it's not worth it is so challenging too. Yeah. You're like, fuck, is this even worth it? And
it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. And
why be with somebody if it's not fun?
Yeah, true. Or if it's not, if the big picture isn't more fun than the alternative, right? It's like you're going to go through shit. We brought that up a ton on this podcast, but it's shit for the sake of having more fun and living a more full experience with each other. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is we just want each other to, you and your partner should want each other to have full, enjoyable life experiences.
Oh, watch out now.
What?
Watch out. You should want your partner to have full, enjoyable life experiences.
What should I watch out for?
But where do you draw the line?
Well, hang on now.
I set him up. I set him up.
She set me up. No, no. I mean that's the thing though. There's always a cost for everything, right?
Yeah.
It's like whether you want to say it or not, there is a cost of having of a partnership, and that's the reality. Like you get the best thing about life, and this is a very Jordan Peterson approach that I take, and maybe that's just because I'm masochistic, but it's like one of the most beautiful things that we get is the ability to choose our sacrifices.
Yep.
Right. And I don't mean sacrifices in a very difficult way, but it's like that's so amazing. It's like I get to choose what I want and what I don't want. And sometimes both things are awesome. Sometimes you want a fucking apple and sometimes you want an orange. And you're like, fuck, I got to pick one. I don't want to eat both of them. That's too much sugar. Can't be doing that. That's too much for me. I'll get tweaked out. But no, it's like you get to choose your sacrifices. So is this partnership worth, say, hey, I can sit on this for a minute. I can like hold back and just be. And then this thing adds so much value to my life that I'm not super concerned about the other thing. But at some point, like we need to be moving in that direction and the relationship evolves and changes. Right. But at the end of the day, comes down to values. Like I was saying earlier, like, do you understand your values? And I think that's something I've caught myself in. It's like, I was just like, fuck, I don't know. Let's figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Right. We're just out in the jungle doing the thing. And it's like, that's funny that I say out in the jungle, but yeah. I was literally out in the jungle having this conversation one time. No, but it comes down to really taking the chance to understand your values and then understanding what a full life experience is for the other person. Mm-hmm. And allowing for that to happen if it's in alignment with you and your full life experience.
Hey, there you go. Amen. It's true.
Did I answer that adequately, Whit?
Yeah, that worked.
Now that I'm being interviewed, do you want to interview me for the last 20 minutes of the podcast?
I mean, I can. No, I think it's just funny, like, when people bring up, well, I want my partner to have, like, full life experiences, and I don't want to hold them back, and I don't want to do this. And it's like, okay, until what point, though? Because you do, if you, like, because I guess it's because I'm in an open relationship, so people bring this up to me a lot, is I want my partner to have an amazing time in their life. I don't want to hold them back. Skirt, until they want to go kiss somebody else. And then it's like, whoa, now you're just crossing the line.
Yeah, I think it's to the point, for me, I would say, to the point where this will change. This barrier will move.
Right.
This may move forward and back depending on if you're having kids, if you're married, if you're getting a house, if you're both stressed out, if one of you guys has a job and the other one doesn't. Like, there's so many different things.
I think that's really important to touch on. It's just, when you get into a relationship, know that you're going to have basically multiple relationships within that relationship, because it's constantly changing.
Yeah, Esther Perel says that. She's like, you'll have 3 big relationships in your life. They may all be with the same person, and they may all be with, like, 7 different people.
Yeah.
Who knows? But you'll have 3 big ones that'll really...
I mean, me and Ab have had multiple relationships.
100%.
And I think we've had 3, honestly. We had one relationship that was monogamous for 2 years, 2.5 years, split up. Another relationship that was figuring the fuck out of open relationships and that whole thing. And now I think we're in our 3rd relationship where we've kind of gotten over the hump. Not that shit doesn't come up still, but we're now in this 3rd part of our relationship. And who knows? I have a feeling that we're going to have a few more.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard somebody actually brought this up to me this morning, was there's a phase of relationships goes infatuation, power struggle, maintenance. And you just kind of keep running through those same, like, phases, which is because at first everything seems like it's sunshine and rainbows, because it's like you fucking are just enthralled with some person. But man, I kind of want to go back to this, like, full life experience thing. You got me, like, thinking about that a lot.
Okay.
It's like, where is that line drawn? Like, you're right. So a lot of people will have that have that intention for their partner. Actually, I don't think that a lot of people have that intention for their partner.
No, they say they do. That's what I'm saying, is that they say they do.
Okay, let's play with this a little
bit. Their partner's like, sweet, I really want to go do this thing. It doesn't even have to be about being with somebody else.
Okay.
It could be going to travel. Some people don't want their significant other to go travel by themselves or with a friend for a month, because what if, God forbid, they don't come back, or they meet somebody or they change when they're over there, And it's like, whoa.
What?
But you want your partner to live life to the fullest. I mean, YOLO, right?
Yeah.
Not for a lot of people.
Yeah. What's the solvent there, though? Where do you trace that back down to? How do you get to that? How do you express that in a healthy way? Because a lot of people will know that, and they'll make the assumption that their partner's not going to want them to go travel for a month with their friend or whatever the fuck, whatever, fill in the blank, and won't say anything about it until it's like, but I want to do this, damn. And it's like, you didn't even tell me that?
Well, it comes back to communication. If you feel that, you just sit down and you're going to have to communicate with your partner.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it.
And you got to know yourself to do that.
Yeah.
Appropriately.
And I think it's like, if, let's say you love somebody and they love you, and you say, look, babe, I'm really interested in going to Costa Rica for a month because I want to learn Spanish and surf. And if they don't support you in that, I think you really need to reevaluate who you're with.
Yeah.
Because they should support you in doing your dreams and your goals.
Yeah.
I think it would be different maybe if, like, you're dating somebody that wants to be a porn star and you don't want to date a porn star. Okay, I got it, right? We get that. But, like, somebody that wants to go travel, let them go travel, let them experience, and have faith in the relationship. I think people just get so caught up in the fear of losing that person when actually the one thing that scares you the most in a relationship is losing somebody. But if you keep them too close, you are manifesting them leaving you.
Yeah, if that's your fear, if your fear is that's constantly going through your head of them leaving you, like
and you're squeezing them and squeezing them and squeezing them and squeezing them, your fear becomes real. Poof, guess what? You just made that person leave.
Yeah.
Doing exactly what you thought was not going to make them leave.
Versus just keeping it fucking lighthearted, you know, and not having every goddamn expectation of someone else.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. You just expect them to want you so bad that they don't want to pursue their own shit. That's so hard. It's so hard. You see it all the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time. And then, but the thing where it gets really crazy, and this is why women, I think, have such a hard time when then they're married and they have 2 kids and they're in that situation where it's like, oh, now I've kind of realized these things about myself because I've gotten everything I thought I wanted and now I'm stuck. I would freak the fuck out.
Yeah, that would sorry, I was drinking matcha. That would be tough for sure.
Yeah. So we're in a really gifted place here to be able to explore that without a ton of attachment, really. So let's acknowledge our privilege in that.
Thank you, universe. Woot, woot. I will take it.
Oh man, this has been a fun little chat, Whit.
Yeah, thanks. I like it.
So
you think, Lobes?
What are the big takeaways you think?
Just be like fun and playful in your relationships. Not have so many expectations. If you're interested in opening the relationship up, know that there's a lot of work that goes into it, and the only way out is in. So if you're in shit in your open relationship, the only way out of that is to go inside. And that's something that I've learned from day one. It's that there's just no other, like, honestly, the more conscious work I do, I feel like consciousness and relationships, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a choice but to look inward and really dissolve your shit.
You don't. That's the only way.
But when you do that, when you explore yourself deeply and understand yourself deeply, and create a compassionate understanding of yourself and a compassionate understanding of your partner, like, you can play and live so much more fully.
Totally.
The fun is so much more fun, and the sad is so much more sad. But it's all beautiful in its own way.
But at least you're experiencing life. That's like the full spectrum.
Yeah.
Why not experience a full spectrum? Why do you want to just hang out in the middle? I mean, maybe you do, but I'm just like such a person that's just, I swing back and forth all over the place because I just want to know everything. I want to touch, I want to taste, I want to feel, I want it all. Like, I just want to feel it all.
Yeah.
And if you do want to stay in the middle and you want to have, like, you know, your very chill vanilla life, at least do it because you know for a fact that you want that. Not that you're doing it because of fears that are keeping you there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know. I can just keep going.
No, keep going.
Fear is a bitch.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that keeps you stuck anywhere. Keeps you from doing anything. Or it could even be like talking to somebody or taking a new class or traveling or asking that girl on a date. Like, fear is the one thing that just keeps you stuck in the life, and you're just not going to be happy there. So there's that.
So if you live in fear, you're not going to be happy. Is something there that you think is?
I mean, fear can't be present with love. You either have fear or you have love. Take your pick. I'm choosing love.
Yeah, I'm with that. I resonate with that for sure. All right, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Miss2Jits, MISS, the number 2 JITS. And then if you like kickboxing, Glory Kickboxing on ESPN2. We have like 18 shows. Or I think we have like 16 shows this year. And then I'm coming out with a YouTube docuseries on love, sex, and relationship. And the first episode is on marriage and why marriage is broken. Dun, dun, dun. As I have a ring on my finger, too.
Shit.
Yeah.
Ballsy. I like it, girl. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Okay, love you.
And that was a very, very interesting and fun episode. Oh, I love Whitney so much. And if you love Whitney, go check her out on Instagram at Miss2Jits, like we just said. And if you love the show, head over to iTunes, give it a 5-star review, leave some kind words. And I want to share something that I've been working on for a while that has been a part of this podcast and a part of this brand, if you will, and that is the lifestyle design program. So We launched a lifestyle design program about 6 months ago, and it's been going badass. And I want to offer that to you guys. If you're interested in doing a program that is built to help you design your best life, and that's relationships, work, play, all the fun things and all the things in between, check it out. We can get a 30-minute free conversation, free consult, just to see what's going on, see where you're at, and see if it is a good fit for you. If you want to check that out, head over to pleasuremonkeylife.com and then hit the lifestyle design tab. You'll see there's some information there, and then a little form at the bottom you can fill out. Then you'll get a hold of me, and I will schedule a 30-minute call with you to just jump into whatever the fuck you want to jump into. So check that out, and we're stoked to have you here. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you go to Facebook, check out Pleasure Monkey Life Facebook group. It is popping off. I'm live in there every Wednesday. And if you want to explore stuff like this, I mean, we do Q&As every Wednesday, and we dive into open relationships a lot. I feel like I'm talking about open relationships enough, and I should probably be in one. I don't know. Maybe that's the move. But anyways, I hope you guys have a badass day, badass week, and badass life. We will see you next time. Peace.